Hi, thanks so much for joining me on the Listen Up Bro podcast, where I bring you LGBTQ plus news several times a week. Today's headlines set at the crossroads of politics, pop culture, faith, media, and survival. Stories that remind us how power, visibility, and identity continue to collide in real ways. From the downfall of prominent anti-trans politician to major shifts in entertainment and public media to deeply personal stories of resilience and resistance, this episode captures a moment in time where progress and backlash are happening side by side. So let's get into it. Our first story is Marjorie Taylor Greene loses her seat. After 5 years of using her congressional platform to spread misinformation about trans youth and amplify harmful groomer rhetoric, Marjorie Taylor Greene is no longer an elected representative. Greene rose to national prominence through her inflammatory language and conspiracy theories, frequently targeting LGBTQ plus people, especially trans children, as political scapegoats. Advocates have long warned that this rhetoric doesn't live online or in speeches. It fuels harassment, school policies, and legislation that directly harm young people. Her exit marks a notable shift in Georgia's political landscape and a reminder that even though the loudest voices are still accountable to voters. I thought that Marjorie Taylor Greene changed a bit or was shifting to become more of a normal person, but this weekend I was not at all surprised that she's back to her old self again in some ways. Who knows what personality she's going to show us next week. Next, Miley Cyrus eyes heated rivalry. Pop royalty may be skating into queer TV fandom. Cyrus sparked excitement after hinting at a interest in season 2 of the hockey drama Heated Rivalry. On the Critics' Choice Awards red carpet, star Francois Arnaud joked that while the show might get a bigger budget, a Miley budget could be another level entirely. The series has already become a standout for queer representation and sports storytelling. Cyrus' potential involvement would not only raise its profile, but rather signal how LGBTQ plus narratives are moving from niche to mainstream. Our next story is Kathy Griffin on survival through humor. In an exclusive interview, comedian and Advocate Magazine's Advocate of the Year, Kathy Griffin opened up about how humor helped her survive some of her darkest periods of her life. Griffin reflected on loss, public backlash, and rebuilding her career, saying comedy wasn't just a profession, but a lifeline. Her full interview, along with red carpet moments, is featured on Out 100 television special, now streaming on Hulu and local broadcast stations. It's a powerful reminder that laughter can be both armor and medicine. Next, public media faces a reckoning. After nearly 6 decades of supporting public broadcasting, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting has voted to dissolve. The decision follows Congress eliminating its federal funding after pressure from Donald Trump's administration. The move threatens local stations across the country, especially in rural and underserved communities, where public media often provides the only access to educational programming, emergency alerts, and independent journalism. This marks a significant loss and a significant shift in America's media ecosystem. Next, faith backlash in history. Sherry Vann, the first openly lesbian archbishop in Christian history, says the backlash following her election has been deeply painful. Some parishioners have left the church in protest, but Vann has emphasized that inclusion and faith are not opposites. Her appointment is historic, and her experience reflects the growing tension between tradition and progress within religious institutions. Next, Queer Eye prepares for its final season. Netflix has confirmed that the 10th and final season of Queer Eye will premiere on January 21st. After 8 years, 37 Emmy nominations, and countless French tucks, the Fab Five are headed to Washington, D.C. for one last run. Since its 2018 debut, the show has transformed how mainstream audiences understand queer joy, vulnerability, and self-love. Whatever behind-the-scenes rumors existed, its cultural impact is undeniable. Next, life as a trans woman in prison. For Lexie Handlang, being a trans woman in prison has meant years of fear and discrimination. Incarcerated in a men's prison in Missouri for over a decade, Handling says violence has been her constant. Her anxiety intensified after Donald Trump signed an executive order rolling back protections for trans women in federal prisons, an action that she says emboldened staff hostility. Despite this, Handling continues to write and is working on a children's fantasy book starring a young trans girl. Its resilience is in its purest form. Our next story is Macron. This information case ends in convictions. 10 people have been found guilty of cyber harassment over false claims that the French First Lady is secretly a trans woman. The conspiracy theory amplified by far-right voices included Candace Owens, who was ruled a coordinated disinformation campaign. Prosecutors emphasize that these lies weaponize transphobia to attack women in public life. Candace Owens is, I don't even know how to describe her anymore. She's so insane, in my opinion. Our next story is the Orlando Sentinel sues over Pulse Memorial. The Orlando Sentinel is suing the Department of Transportation in Florida for withholding records related to the destruction of Orlando's Rainbow Crosswalk, memorializing the 49 victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. The crosswalk was removed overnight on orders from Ron DeSantis without notifying city officials. The lawsuit challenges both transparency and respect for LGBTQ plus history. God, I hope they win. And I can't wait for the day when Ron DeSantis is out of office. Next is From Religion to Self-Acceptance. Former Mormon missionary Garth Huelskamp recalls trying to pray away his sexuality by preaching to others. Now openly gay, Huelskamp's story reflects the long-term psychological costs many queer people face in faith environments that frame identity as sin. And then Netflix is targeted over kids' content. Anti-LGBTQ plus group Concerned Women for America is urging the Trump administration to scrutinize Netflix children programming ahead of a proposed merger with Warner Brothers. Their report cites LGBTQ plus characters as evidence of ideological influence, echoing rhetoric promoted by figures like Elon Musk and the libs of TikTok creator Cheyenne Ranick. I mean, these people just have not enough to do in life. Next, Cardi B, who we all love, shows love to the dolls. During her guest judge appearance on Paul's Drag Race, Cardi B proudly shouted out her trans glam team, hairstylist Tokyo Styles and makeup artist Erica LaPearl. I can't live without them, she said, normalizing trans excellence on one of the biggest, queerest stages. We love her, and bye-bye, Nicki Minaj, you are still out. Next, arts, tours, and tributes. Composer Stephen Schwartz is stepping away from the Kennedy Center, citing concerns that the institution no longer feels apolitical. Meanwhile, Ariana Grande is preparing for her first tour in 6 years, teasing a visually spelling bee era. And actor Cyrus Paulson shared a heartfelt tribute to Diane Keaton, who passed away in October, marking that would have been her 80th birthday. Next, comedy criticism and allyship. Ricky Gervais has defended his comedy amid criticism over trans jokes, reuniting debates about free speech versus harm. And then in contrast, Marlon Wayans reaffirmed his support for the trans community, speaking openly about protecting his son Kai Wayans, praising Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union for supporting their daughter Zaya Wade. And that's the stories that remind us that visibility is powerful, but also so is resistance. Whether it's politics, prisons, or pop culture, LGBTQ lives continue to be debated, defended, celebrated, and challenged in a public view. If this episode resonates with somebody you know, please be sure to share it. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And leave a comment or a rating on the podcast. Thank you for taking the time to listen and to learn, to stay engaged. I will be back later this week with more LGBTQ plus news. I'm your host, Zach Randall Friedman, and thanks for listening.